What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, we're going to run the all-new Jackal Legacy through the Surface Gauntlet. The Jackal Legacy comes out of box at a 2000 grit laser scan sand. So in this video, I hit it with a 2000 pad and then the Motiv Power Gel polish. And then we're going to work our way down from polish all the way down to 500 to see how the surface changes affect this Jackal Legacy. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys have drilled a Jackal Legacy and what you're thinking about it so far. If you guys like this video, I would appreciate it if you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date every time I drop a new video. It helps me a ton the more you guys are liking my video and the more you guys are subscribing. And as always, if you like this jersey or any of the jerseys in any of my videos, you can head on over to logoinfusion.com or iambowling.com and use my promo code Lewis, and that'll get you 20% off your entire order. And then down below in the description, I have links to everything that I used to make this video, from the sanding pads to the bowling balls on the lanes. The first surface prep that we're going to take a look at on this Jackal Legacy is the polish. I'm going to take you guys on the lane so you can see it in action. Thank you for joining me for this surface review of the Jackal Legacy. As always, I'm going to show you every single shot that I threw in this session. Now, with this polish, I was very surprised at how much I actually liked it. This house shot that I'm bowling on has a lot of friction, a lot of early friction as well. So this polish got it through the fronts very nicely and gave me an unbelievable look. Now, typically for me, I don't use polish on anything, not even my pearls. On house shots, they tend to be a little bit too clean through the fronts and way too angular in the back part of the lane. And then on a lot of the PBA patterns, the volume is usually really high, so using polish is almost always a non-option. But this Jackal Legacy on the house shot here at South Point rolled really well with the polish. It never overreacted in the back part of the lane. It was very clean through the fronts and a very smooth transition to the pocket. I also really liked that with the polish, it allowed me to play significantly more up the lane than with the surface. Maybe it was the surprise factor, but the polish ended up being my second favorite surface prep on this Jackal Legacy. Now, the next surface you're going to see on this Jackal Legacy is 4000. The first shot is going to be from where I struck with the polish, and then I'm going to make adjustments to try to get the ball to go through the pins the right way. So with this 4000 finish, the motion on the lane is going to be very similar to the polish, but it's just going to bring the break point a little bit closer to you, and it's not going to be as quick down lane. 4000 is typically where I keep my bowling balls that I want to be a little bit cleaner through the fronts and a little bit more shaped down lane instead of using the polish. This is also the surface that I most recommend for people who want to throw their bigger asymmetrical solids like this Jackal Legacy on the typical house shot. I know that these bigger asyms can be very hard to throw on the house shots because of how strong they are. Now we're into 3000. There isn't going to be a huge difference between the 4000 and the 3000 because we're not creating a lot of dust. Going to this 3000 finish from the 4000 finish, you're not going to see a very big difference. However, going from the polish to the 3000 finish, you're going to see a very noticeable difference on the lane. The 3000 is going to be significantly earlier and more smoother, obviously, than the polish. The 3000, however, isn't going to be overly early, so it's still going to want to get down lane and still create shape. 3000 is typically my favorite surface prep on a house shot, but with this Jackal Legacy, it wasn't my absolute favorite. What I did like about this surface prep is that it allowed me to play in a part of the lane that I'm very comfortable playing. Okay, so now we're into the 2000, and now we're going to start seeing the bigger differences because we're creating more dust and we're creating a bigger footprint in the oil. Okay, so let me just say that Motiv hit the nail on the head when deciding what the out-of-box finish on this Jackal Legacy should be. This 2000 matches up so well to this ball, and it was easily, far and away, my favorite surface finish on this Jackal Legacy. The 2000 on this ball got it into a roll pretty early, but still wanted to create a decent amount of shape down lane. I felt as if my pocket was huge when I had this ball at the 2000 finish. Now, this is definitely one of those bowling balls that I would highly suggest you throw right out of the box before making any kind of surface changes. Same cover and same finish as the Forge Flare, but they react wildly different. So now we're going to go into the 1500, and things start to get a little squirrely where you're going to notice that I'm not going to be chasing it as far left. Now, going from 2000 to this 1500 finish was the biggest difference from pad to pad. this is where you're going to start to see that the footprint in the oil is significantly larger. Now, what I mean by the footprint in the oil is that I'm creating much more traction early on the lane versus some of the higher surface finishes like 2000, 3000, 4000. This is where you're going to start to see the ball bail a little bit down lane, and where you're going to start to see me chase the pattern right instead of chasing it left like you typically do. This 1500 finish and lower should be reserved for those higher volume patterns as well as those longer patterns where you need the ball to get into a roll very early. But just because the ball bails down lane doesn't mean it's bad ball reaction. There's a lot of times where I want the ball to bail down lane. So now we're into the 1000. Now the footprint in the oil is very, very large. So now that we're into the 1000 and the traction that we are creating is huge, shaping the ball now is going to be an almost non-option. You're going to see that I'm going to be playing pretty far to the left of my feet, but playing them significantly more up the lane than I was earlier in this video. And actually, this is one of my favorite tricks to do. A lot of times people think that when you're playing them straighter that you have to be in the track, but you have to remember that on a house shot, the highest concentration of oil is in the middle part of the lane. So if you have a ball that has this much surface, you cannot jam it into the friction. You have to keep it in the oil. And on a house shot, the highest concentration is in the middle, so that's where you have to play it. Now, personally, I don't recommend doing this on a house shot, especially if you have to bowl more than one game on this pair, because if you have to play this far left and this far up the lane with this much surface, and you have to bowl multiple games, they can get impossible to score. Oh boy, so here we go. We're in the 500. Now the footprint in the oil is very, very huge. So here we go, the Mac Daddy of surface, the 500 grip. Now I've always said that personally I only use the 500 grip finish on urethane balls because it is so much surface, and the amount of damage that you're doing to the front part of the lane, especially on a house shot like this, can be irreversible, and it can make the pattern very, very hard to score on. Now, typically the only reason I use 500 grit on urethane balls is because typically you're going to be playing very far to the right and you're going to be playing them way more up the lane. So if you have to get out of the urethane ball, the track or the middle part of the lane isn't going to be destroyed by this 500 grit finish. For me personally, even on the heavier volume patterns or on the longer patterns, 500 is almost a non-option for me. The lowest I typically go is 1000 if the volume on the pattern calls for it. Even so, I do have to admit that the look on the lane that I had with this 500 grit was pretty good. Now here, the last thing I'm going to leave you with is a on-lane comparison with all 7 surfaces with the tracer lines. Let me know what you guys think, if you guys are liking these lines on the videos, and if you do, I will continue to add them into future videos. And if you don't, let me know honestly in the comments. That way I don't have to waste my time doing them. Now, for me personally, I thoroughly enjoy making these lines, and I truly believe that they are helpful. To me, they represent a visual aid so that there's no guessing where the ball crossed at the arrows or where the ball was down lane. But I'm here for the people. If you guys like them, they stay. And if you don't like them, then they're gone. Until next time, guys, stay motivated. If you're still watching and haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Well, there you have it, folks. There's the Jackal Legacy through the Surface Gauntlet. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought about this video, and if you want to see more Surface videos like this in the future. Click right here to watch one of my other videos. Click right here to subscribe. Till next time, guys.